Thank you for staying tuned this morning on ITV, this very Sunday, the 16th day of October. Now, Wilson said women talk, and I think I find that a bit offensive because it's not just about women talk, you know, like is he trying to discriminate or what? And that's what we're preaching against. Well, on the 11th was the International Day of the Girl Child, and amongst the problems are violence against women, inequality, rights and access to education, and so on. And all these things are what we are screaming for and screaming against, want to be heard and you know, treated equally with men, not like they're like we're just going to be, but at least, you know, so they're not discriminated upon. Well, you're welcome to this very discussion, and we're looking at ending, actually ending violence against women and gender-based violence and all that. My guest this morning is Ronke Ojeikere, Initiator SOTHAWACA. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
And by the way, congratulations on your recent award.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, Ronke, it was the International Day of the Girl Child, and all these things, you know, we keep talking about it. How far would you say we've gone so far in the campaign against ending violence against women?
Ending violence against children is a global issue that we must all appreciate. And I'm happy that Nigeria is keen into all global issues as it affects women and children, especially the girl child. Are we making any progress? Significantly, I would say yes, we are, you know, but we are not making it at the speed everybody would expect. Because like you rightly mentioned, there are so many issues that borders around ending violence against women and gender-based violence. It's not just issues that one can sit down and say, okay, we have put a stop to this, we have put a stop to that, but we are working significantly to see that violence against women and children, especially the girl children, are completely, I don't know whether we can completely eradicate it or eliminate it, but at least we are making that progress, and we are creating that awareness that yes, we do know things that we ordinarily have not identified as violent acts against women. Now that everybody is talking about it, now we are beginning to say, okay, yes, these issues are violent acts against women. You just talked about Wilson and his comment about it's ladies' talk, you know, and we should also know that discrimination against women is also some form of violent act against a woman's rights. And we must know that women's rights are also human rights. And when we know that, then we'll know that we should start to respect issues that have to do with women.
Okay, now when we say gender-based violence, what exactly do we mean?
Yes, gender-based violence, you know, when we talk about gender, we most times people erroneously look at gender as just the female. You know, gender-based violence has to do with both the male and the female, but by and large, it has to do more of the women, you know, going through gender-based violence. Anything, any act, you know, sexual, physical, financial, and all of that, all play a significant role, you know, when you are looking at issues that have to do with gender-based violence. Everything, you know, has to do between the man and the woman. Either the man is violating the woman or the woman is violating the man. So we're looking at it and saying that for us to curb gender-based violence, we must get both the male and the female to be in sync with the campaigns to end gender-based violence.
Okay. And just for you to know that this discussion, we're supposed to have a male discussant on this discussion who happened not to be here right now. So I wanted it to be level.
A balanced thing. Absolutely,
yeah,
yes.
I also invited a man, but he couldn't make it. So moving on now, what are some of those acts that that we consider violence against women?
Yeah, aside from the one that everybody is screaming about, which I always say is 20% of the the violent acts women go through, the sexual harassment and sexual molestation and all of that is one act of violence women go through. We also have violence against women during election times. At least we just finished an election, and there was this campaign that started even before the elections came out, you know, where we were sensitizing women about their rights to vote and all of that. If you notice, most times, you know, women are denied their rights to vote, either of two things. Either the woman belongs to one political party and the husband belongs to another political party, or the man is forcing his wife to say, listen, this is where I am trading, you know, and I want you to come with me. You know, a woman must have the right, you know, freedom of expression, freedom of association, freedom of interaction, you know, and all of that. Then we have the emotional violence or psychological violence that women go through from time to time, you know, that is eating deep. I think that is the deepest killer, aside from the murder and things that we eventually hear about women, you know. That is what women, most women are psychologically and emotionally traumatized in their homes, you know. Then we have the financial violence, or you know, that women go through, where women are not allowed to earn a living for themselves. And even when they earn a living for themselves, they are not allowed to spend their earnings the way they want to do it. That is when you have a man who is dictatorial in the home.
And some they are not able to access loan.
No, they do not. They cannot access loan. You always need for a man to come and be your shorty and all of that. You know, you said that if a man was here, then we would have been able to balance it. But you know, when I talk this way, people will say, "Oh, she's talking this way because she's a woman." You understand? But by and large, I have mentioned the physical violence, the sexual harassment, the violence against women during election times. Then the right, women do not have the right, or when you do come out to participate in politics, you are not given the fairness, you know, to be a part of that participation and it all.
And some women are not allowed to own properties, landed properties in some.
Well, I think that one right now. I think that it's no more a thing of the now, because many women are beginning to own properties. Many women are beginning to inherit. At least it was Enugu State that just passed that, right, that a woman has the right to inherit properties, you know. I remember one time on this platform, and I think it was with you, I asked the question that when a woman dies, who inherits her property, you know, and all of that. So women are beginning to own houses, at least in Benin. A good number of the houses, when you pass, you will hear, this house belongs to a woman. This house was built by a woman. Although many a times too, it is said in a derogatory manner. Derogatory in the sense that you will hear, oh, the woman is in Italy and she sends money home to build a house. You know, the derogatory part of the her being in Italy and all of that. But at the same time, whether in Italy or not that I am advocating or clapping my hands that the woman is in Italy, I don't know what she's doing there, but at least she's been able to build, own a property here in Nigeria.
Okay, but you know, speaking of the East, the one you just mentioned, when probably any of their parents dies, the women contributes just the same way. Sometimes they just share it between the children. Everybody contributes money, but when it comes to property sharing, oh, the women are not supposed to inherit their father's property, because they are meant to get married and they're not supposed to take whatever they get from their father's house to another man's house. Isn't that another form of violence on its own?
I just said to you that inheritance, you know, is a major violent act, you know, against the feminine gender, you know. But I also did applaud the fact that now in the East, at least in Enugu State, at least I followed that one. They have been given the rights. If a man can own a property in his father's house, the woman should also own a property in the father's house. It all has to do with equality. You know, nobody is more superior than the other. Okay. And so we should not discriminate when it has to do with inheritance.
Okay. So if the woman should be part of the spending, then she should also be part of the inheritance. Well, the discussion continues. That is after the news update for 9:30. Please stay tuned. All right, thank you so much. Before we went on that break, we're actually looking at gender-based violence with Ronke Ojeikere, Initiator, SOTHAWACA. And Ronke has been able to analyze to us the different forms of violence, especially against women. And finally, we anchored on the bill that was just recently passed in Enugu State, where women can inherit properties in that state. And we're also looking forward to other states, especially in that eastern part of the country, to do likewise. Now, Ronke, we are preaching violence, ending violence against women, eliminating violence against women, access to education and right to education, you know. But I must say, what just transpired over the weekend among the first family, what would you say that is? I mean, when the president's wife aired her view and her husband said, my wife belongs to my kitchen, my living room and other rooms.
I listened, I have been listening to comments, I have been reading comments. I have in myself sat in my little quiet corner to look at it, to try and critically analyze it within myself. And if you remember when the president was coming in, and there was this thing about should she or should she not have an office and how should she be addressed, President Buhari had said, simply address her as the wife of the president. Well, nobody saw anything wrong in that at that time. We were looking to see whether she would go ahead to say, I would have the office of the First Lady. Well, she did. She has many pet projects centered primarily on women issues, all right? And she did not just limit herself to the northern region of Nigeria. She went around and she established and made her presence known. Yes, she's come out like every woman wood, to say that the economy of Nigeria is biting hard. She's a woman, she goes to the market. She's a woman, she hears things that are being said, They say the fastest way to get a message across to your husband is say it in front of his wife. Wherever she gives him the message is her own prerogative, Many women, I was at a function once in Abuja where the First Lady, Dame Patience Jonathan then invited women who did issues on women, gender. And she invited the then Minister for Women Affairs to the podium. And, she more or less, because the minister was representing her husband, and she more or less gave the minister a message from the women to her husband. And she jokingly said, "You better tell him, because when I enter the bedroom, I will ask him whether you gave him our message." You understand? So maybe Mrs. Jonathan has been Mrs. Buhari, Aisha Buhari, has been subtly telling her husband things, about how and what to do. We all must understand that President Buhari is also a very stubborn man who has his own ideas and thinks that things should be done this way, and that those are the set goals. Before he ascended his seat as president, he must have things that he had in line. Well, whether she came out to the social media or to the press to say those things, we do not know what premeditated that statement. We just heard that she said, they just took a portion of that talk and amplified it. And what were they doing? They were pinching the sensitive parts of the woman. I particularly, I saw her reasons because I go to the market. We all have been feeling the hard knocks of the economy today. Then when I now listen to Buhari's own response.
President Buhari's response.
Although he laughed at the end of it, I felt really bad. He didn't need to say my wife belongs to the kitchen, my wife belongs to the other room. He didn't need to say that, But
he said it.
But he said it, Now people are saying I felt bad, like as a woman, that he didn't need to say all of that, because what he has just done is to relegate the wife to the back, But people are also saying that, but he laughed, he's joking, and all of that. And then the same press who blew it out, because it was the press that blew out that portion. I wish we can read through what Mrs. Aisha Buhari was talking about, Many have come up with the gist that maybe he's bringing in another woman and she's feeling threatened.
Let's actually, I don't really want us to dwell much on what she said. We're actually looking at the husband's reaction, the #1 citizen of this country's reaction, coming from a region where they don't really quite accept woman's presence, because they think that their women should be somewhere, and you are preaching, women should stand up,
for
women
their rights,
should
yes,
speak up,
yes.
Women should be treated as
Equals,
human beings,
yes,
equals, and not as a second-class citizen. And now, the #1 citizen of this country coming from that region, what do you think this message, how do you think this message was received? And what do you think this message will do to the sense of people who were beginning to think, oh, I think
thank God
he's,
Um, well, I was going to tell you that feelers are that the president was joking. I said, no, the president cannot be joking. Where did he pass his comment? In Germany. He's visiting Germany, where the head of the German government is a woman. All right, and you are saying my wife belongs to the. It's a negative. It has, that is a very negative impression it has given us. I was saying to you that, well, there are religious people. I don't like to discuss religion, but the religious people are already saying that Aisha Buhari should be jailed because of her statement. I don't tread on hearsays. I wait until it happens. But Ifeoma, I must tell you that people are not receiving, especially me. We haven't received that statement well at all, because what I have done is to follow President Buhari from the time where he said his wife wasn't going to have an office to the time when he said my wife should just be addressed as the president's wife. You understand? And all of that. It's only showing you that in as much as he's president, he doesn't really look at women as a force to be reckoned with. I'm sorry, this may be my own views, but I'm sure that if you ask other women, they will tell you that President Buhari doesn't really have too much respect. I don't know, for women, for that coming from him, and then for him visiting a woman who is holding a key position as being the head of a nation, and he's visiting with her, and he chose that time. If he said it in Nigeria, maybe the president, but this is very serious matter. His own response came on the news, but his own wife too was on BBC. So either which way, it has put a bad taste, in the mouths of women and our young men coming up, the men of today, who are beginning to appreciate and allow women have some level of equality in all that they do. People would now start to sit back to think about, if the president is saying this, what next?
Okay, so finally, what then is the way forward, generally, on gender-based violence?
We won't stop talking about gender-based violence. It's happening every day. We are beginning to look at it. Issues are being done. We have charters and all of that are guiding us. We have principles guiding us about what to do. Like I said, Nigeria is beginning to toe the global line. We are beginning to see things that are done globally, and we are not allowing it, say because it is our culture and tradition not to speak. Although women are beginning to be very vocal, they are beginning to speak out about the ills as it affects women. So I see a brighter future, for the Nigerian woman, especially for the Edo woman.
Thank you so much, Ronke, for coming on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so that's it for today on gender-based violence. While we are here looking forward to, it's possible that America might have a first husband instead of a first lady. That is, should Hillary Clinton win her election, then there's Theresa May, then we have Angela Merkel, and we have other strong forces, strong women coming up, and someone call it a joke if you like, but some people don't see it as a joke, saying that he is the president of this country, saying his wife belongs to his kitchen, his bedroom, and other rooms. Which way are we going? But the struggle continues. We will continue to speak up against violence against women and of course gender inequality, and of course eliminating violence in totality against women. On behalf of Wilson Omasho, I am Ifeoma Igwe. Thank you so much for watching the program today. Join Sunny Duke Okosun tomorrow. Good morning.